Hi, thanks for stopping by to my little YouTube channel. I am a reseller on such apps as Poshmark, Mercari, etc., etc., etc. And today's video is about mistakes. We all make them. All resellers make mistakes. All people make mistakes. But I feel if we can share our mistakes, maybe the next time we're out doing our reselling stuff, maybe we'll make one less mistake. So I think this is going to be really good for people that are new to reselling and people who have been doing it for a while. I have made some of these mistakes, not all of these mistakes, and I hopefully have learned from my errors and your errors. So let's jump right into this. It should not be a long video. Sourcing mistakes. Okay, I'm not talking about buying that Coldwater Creek jacket that nobody wants and nobody will ever want, and you can't even sell it in a yard sale pile. That's not really a mistake. Hindsight is 20/20. The more you do it, hopefully you get better at making these choices. You learn to check your comps more carefully. Even a seasoned reseller checks comps occasionally, if not always. No, that is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about not checking over things to find their flaws. Sometimes, in my case, I have to make mistakes twice. Because the first time I think it's a one-off, and then I don't realize until it happens again, like, oh, maybe this is an issue with this particular label. For example, I'm going to give you a couple examples. I bought a pair of Grey's Anatomy black scrubs, and when I got them home, I noticed that the inside of the thighs had pilling and the fabric was thinning. So, you know, maybe I thought it was a one-off. Then I bought another pair of almost the same pants, same issue. So I don't know if it's a construction issue with Grey's Anatomy scrub pants, or with maybe people that wear Grey's Anatomy scrub pants are more likely to have thighs that rub together. But I know now, whenever I buy anything that says Grey's Anatomy, and in fact, when I check any kind of pants, that's an area that I make a point of looking at to make sure that it's not like that. Here's another one. I bought a pair of Ariat boots, Ariat, A-R-I-A-T boots, and they were work boots, and they were kind of dirty, like they had been, worn through the dirt, but not overworn. They just looked like they needed good brushing off. Well, when I got them home, I actually tried to try it on. I couldn't get my foot in because, and this is going to be hard to explain, the top of the boot had formed to the person's toes, so it like went into the toe, so it was like channels, and you had to like try to get your toes in the channels. I've never seen anything like it, and they were rock hard. So, fast forward, I don't know, 4 or 5 months, I buy another pair of Ariat boots, I bring them home, same issue. Not to as extreme a degree. I'm actually trying to fix it. I don't know if it's going to work, and even if it works, it's probably going to take a year. But I've stuffed, and then I took the old ones and I'm trying it with those too, though I don't know, they're rock hard. I've stuffed them with like a bunch of a balled up wet rag to try and like dampen the fabric and get it to soften. It's an experiment. I have the boots. What am I going to do with it? So that's something now that I'm going to be aware of, and not just with Ariats, because I bought a pair of Sketcher boots that, again, I didn't think to check the inside, and it's only slight, like I can just kind of feel a little dip. It's perfectly sellable, but I'm going to have to start sticking I know, it could sound gross, sticking my hands into boots, especially heavy-duty work boots or winter boots where people like their feet are in there, maybe getting a little bit sweaty. If you're grossed out by that, wear latex gloves or don't buy boots, but just know that this is something that is not uncommon with boots. Even a boot that from the outside looks amazing. Zippers, do the zippers work? They may look like decent zip, but then you slide them up and they'll get stuck. Elastics, like elastic waists, pull on them. If they sound crunchy, that means they're going. Here's another mistake I made twice. I bought a pair of Kate Spade shoes with crystals, got them home, and they were missing a crystal. They sold anyway. And then I bought another pair of shoes, a different brand, missing a crystal. I have to check, just like with what I do with like beaded dresses, got to remember to check all those crystals. Check both shoes to make sure they're the same size. I know that seems crazy, especially at the bin. So I bought a pair of Under Armour, what I thought was a pair of Under Armour, like running shoes. They were in amazing shape, white. I looked at the size, woman's 10. I bought them, I brought them home, and I was like, maybe these will fit my mom. So I look at the size again, and it says 8.5. Like, I could have sworn I looked at that at the store, and it was a size 10. Well, the other one was a 10, and this one was an 8.5. And even worse, they were both for the right foot. I don't know how these two shoes ended up together. I listed them, and I actually sold the single shoe in a size 10, so all was not lost. But yeah, you need to check that. So those are the kind of sourcing mistakes that you should be watching out for. I mean, there's some things that you're just not going to be able to perfect. For example, light staining. Sometimes you're not going to see it until you put the ring light on it. And even though the person you're sending it to is probably not going to put it in front of a ring light, once I know there's a discoloration there, I need to get rid of it, not sell it, or disclose it. But that's, the lighting in a thrift store isn't going to be great. You can't necessarily look over every inch of it the way you're going to do, or hopefully going to do, when you're listing it. So, that's also something, it just can't be avoided. All right, now let's talk about mistakes one might make when one is listing. Here's the mistake I made last week. I had a vintage Eddie Bauer Fair Isle sweater. Oh, gorgeous sweater. I listed it for $30 on Poshmark in Mercari, I thought. But apparently my work was sloppy, and I only listed it at $3 on Mercari. It still took a few days to sell, but I didn't realize it until somebody bought it. I sent her a message. I could have canceled it, but that's not how I roll. I sent her a message. I said, wow, you got a really great deal. I meant to put it at 30, but my mistake, I'm going to honor it. It's going out tomorrow. And I didn't actually lose money on it because I got it at a great price. So I kind of broke even and learned a valuable lesson. The problem is, the lesson I learned is to check your work. And that's just something I've never been able to do. I can spell somebody else's mistake from 10 miles away, especially if it's like, a misspelling or, something like in their writing. But the reason why I don't always catch my own, I was the same way in school. If I had to write a composition, once I was done, I did not want to look at it. I can't get myself to go back and look at it and look for my mistakes. I'm done. When I'm done, I'm done. So one of the things that I need, that I think will help is, and I do this more on Poshmark, like when I put in the price that I'm asking, it will show you the price, the amount you will get after fees. I believe that's the case in both. And so if I look at that, I know it does it when I send offers, and I always look at that before I send the offer. So that would have caught, if I put it in at what I thought was $30 and it said that I would make $2.17, I'd be like, ooh, something's not right. But maybe it doesn't. I don't know. Well, the same sort of typo can happen with measurements. I had a t-shirt listed as a size small. Someone sent me a message and said, are you sure this is a small? Because the armpit to armpit measurement says 27 inches, which seems big for a small. Well, sure enough, it was supposed to say 17. I had a typo and I didn't check it. Here's another thing that happened to me. I had a new tag tankini. I believe it was Tommy Bahama. It had a very distinctive pattern. It had a style number. I looked up the style number to find it on a retail site. I do this for various reasons. See how much they were asked, how much it was, and a lot of times I borrow a good part of their description of it. So I see a tankini top. It's got the same cut. It's the same fabric. I borrow the description. The only problem is they had this tankini in several versions, and my description said it was reversible, but my tankini top was not reversible. So the case was opened. I apologized and I took it back, and I did resell it. I don't remember if I resold it for the same price because it was a while after. So that is something that can happen when you're listing things, among other things, I suppose. But those are the mistakes that I have made. Then shipping. What are the mistakes? Well, the most common mistake, and I haven't made it yet, but I am not cocky enough to say that I will never make it, and that is mixing shipping labels. You have this package, you have this package, you package them up, you have two labels, boop, boop, ship them out. Oops, this label should have gone there, that label should have gone there. This is a common mistake. I'm in many reseller groups. This happens regularly. Know about this if you don't know about this. Be careful. And also know it still might happen. Another shipping mistake is leaving out a part of the order. You know, say you have a handbag with a strap that snaps on. In fact, I think I just read this. Someone had that. She forgot to put the strap in the box. You could leave the belt out. You could have a bundle order of 3 items and you forget to put the 3rd item. So that's a very common mistake as well. This is a mistake that I made where you have, okay, so I had a pair of Under Armour, like light beige pants that somebody purchased. I knew what box it was in. I opened the box. There's a pair of light beige pants. I grab them, I plop them in the poly mailer, I send them off. The only problem is I also had a pair of 7 for All Mankind light beige pants in that box, and I wasn't careful. I may have been in a rush. Sometimes I would get an order at, like, say, 1:30, and I'm like, ooh, if I get this package, I can, maybe get it out to my mailman right, today. So you want to make sure you're sending the right thing. Sometimes this happened to somebody else. She had 2 pair of boots that were the same but different sizes, and she accidentally sent the wrong size. Oh, here's a very common mistake that I don't think that I've made. You sell something and you forget to take the Goodwill tag off of it. Now, you don't want to do that. The buyers get really annoyed with that. I don't know what the buyers are thinking. Maybe it's the whole ignorance is bliss thing, and they don't put any thought into where we resellers are getting our things. But when they get something that they paid, I don't know, $30, $40, say, and it's got a $2.99 tag on it, suddenly they don't understand that we are not in the business of buying things and selling them at cost. So, yeah, don't do that if you can avoid it. But you probably will. I haven't done it yet. I just knocked wood. That's why I take the tags off immediately. I didn't used to, because then I would know what the price was, but I don't keep the tags on there anymore because generally I buy things on sale anyway, so the tag doesn't match what I actually paid, and I have a sheet for that, and it's not worth taking the chance that I'll forget to cut it off later. Cut it as soon as you bring it home. That's what I suggest. This is another common thing. Losing an item that you just sold. What I mean by losing it is you can't find it. When I started out, you don't realize how big you might go with this reselling business. You think, well, I only have, 10 items. I'm going to know where they are stored. So you don't set up a system. And then you turn around and you wake up one day, Saturday, August 28th, and you have about 900 listings. And you don't know where everything is. My method is twofold. I have a Google spreadsheet that has the box number that the item is in. And then in Poshmark, under the SKU line, I put the box number as well. Don't put it on the details line below the SKU because because I made this mistake. Once the item is sold, you can't access those lines. So the point of those lines is beyond me. Like, if I can't access them once it's sold, why would I use them? I don't. So I put that on the SKU line. But I still lose things on occasion because it's an older item where I wasn't as diligent about that. Or here's another thing I've done. So I only do it on my Poshmark listing, not on my Mercari listing, because everything that's on Mercari is on Poshmark. So if I sell it on Mercari, I will go to Poshmark and I can see where it is before I delete it. Except sometimes I forget and I delete it right away and I forget to look at where it is. But that's okay because I have the spreadsheet, right? Right. Except I'm human and occasionally I didn't put it on the spreadsheet, or it's an older item and I wasn't as diligent about doing that. So set up a system now if you don't have one. I don't care if you're at the point where you only have 10 items. Believe me, set up a system. It's going to get crazy. All right, so I think that is it for right now. I have no doubt that this is not representative of all the possible mistakes and all the mistakes that have been made by resellers, but it's a good baseline, especially for somebody who's just starting out. You'll notice there's a comment section below. It's there for a reason. Have you made a mistake I didn't mention? Let us know about it. We can and we should learn from each other. So much of what I've learned from other resellers. So share your experience. If you know where the potholes are, you're going to have an easier time navigating around them. The next time you go thrift shopping, if you see a pair of Grey's Anatomy scrubs, it's probably going to be there in your lodge somewhere in there. Ooh, let me check and make sure that the thighs didn't wear out. So that's it. I really appreciate your spending 18 minutes with me. I will be back probably the middle of the week with the last What Sold video of August. Back to my regular haul videos, hopefully next weekend. And if you don't have any mistakes to share, just say hi in the comment section. If you like reseller content, please consider hitting the subscribe button on your way out. If you hit that bell, you'll know every time I release a video. And hit the thumbs up just to be nice. All right? Thank you so much. I will see you on the next one.